Beautiful. Beautiful, Pappy. And here we go. Spawning in the top right-hand corner of Hecate, we have our Canadian Zerg player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Scarlett. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have her opponent. We have the Red Zerg player representing Team Vitality. I still have to get used to saying that. The Red Zerg, it is Solar. Here we go. ZvZ is here, loading into Hecate. The rush distance by ground is actually quite short on this map, deceivingly short. But despite that, it's really difficult to be overly aggressive just because of the defender's advantage. Basically, this ramp is so incredibly narrow here. Pushing up this ramp when you go for a Roach all-in or a Ling Bane all-in, it can be very difficult to pull off. But we'll see if that does influence our players. As for now, hatch first. Hatch first for both Solar and Scarlett. Here we go. As for now, we are just settling into this. Again, nothing too crazy to kick things off. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in this series we do have something crazy, like, say, a gas first or a pool first. Something more unorthodox. 1515s have been quite popular in ZvZ. They've been, I mean, I say quite popular. Maybe I've been watching too much Raynor. I know Raynor is very fond of 1515s. I know Shin is very fond of it. And I know Dark does mix it in every now and then. We'll see if either Scarlett or Solar is one to adopt that 1515 opener. It's a very safe way to open up, and it does lead typically into 2-base play, 2-base Roach or 2-base Muta. But again, for now, hatch gas pool, standard stuff from both Scarlett and Solar as we ease our way into the minigame. So we do ease our way in. For now, Ling speed is on the way. We're not rushing into any kind of crazy tech. We're not skipping Ling speed and going into a Waller. We're not playing 2-base. And our Lings are moving out for a bit of a scout. Are moving out here. 3rd base in production for Solar. We should be soon seeing our 3rd from Scarlett, taking the more forward 3rd. Interesting, a more aggressive stance from our Canadian Zerg player. Outside of that, both our players just going to be checking each other, confirming their 3rd base locations. Bailey nests are on the way. No one is crazy enough to skip their Bailey nest, thankfully. Ooh, and Solar going for a very fast Roach Warren. Uh-oh. An insanely fast Roach Warren here from Solar, hidden in the main base. Meanwhile, Scarlett is happily droning, saturating her natural to her heart's content, and unfortunately Scarlett hasn't gone into the main base yet. Ling speed is about to kick in. With Ling speed, maybe we can try and slip in for a scout. Without it though, Solar is going for an all-in. Solar, he's cutting workers very early on. Only 8 drones here at the natural, and no more because our lava is being banked up for one reason only, to make Roaches and Lings. There we go, 6 Roaches are on the way. Ling's going to be coming out to reinforce and to rally across the map, and Scarlett is going to be in a lot of trouble. Scarlett, she's still droning! 8 more workers on the way. We're taking another gas geyser. We're throwing down an Evo chamber of all things. Still no Roach Warren. And we're going straight into a lair. Ooh, this is greedy. This is quite greedy here from Scarlett. And here we go. The all-in is upon a Scarlett. Now throwing down a Roach Warren. Bailings are on the way, but does it matter? Is it too little too late? As Soul is moving out with basically half the worker count, but double the army supply. Solar does head towards the 3rd base, gets a couple of drone kills. Grabs the queen. Oh. Mainly, not the best connections from Solar, but the Roaches, they do push on forward. They focus down the queens as well. Bailey's will not connect with the Lings. And Solar is breaking through. We have a Spine Crawler on the way, but it's too little too late. It's going to get surrounded and it will not finish. Flush cancel out of Scarlett. Bailings are in production. Scarlett does focus him down. But the Lings, they get into the main base, and the Roaches, they still stand strong. They push towards the Ram. GG gets called. There's just too much. And Solar will take game number 1. GG. Again, Scarlett just a little bit too greedy there. I say greedy. Scarlett was greedy in the sense that obviously she was droning up quite a lot. She had delayed her Roach Warren. But more importantly, she was doing this despite not knowing what Solar was up to. Wasn't able to scout into the main. Wasn't able to confirm saturation at the natural. Wasn't able to recognize that Solar was going all in. And that's the brutal thing about ZvZ, is you have very little time to react. Very little time to actually start responding to your opponent, so you need to scout as quickly, as early as possible. And Solar was able to deny those scouts. And with that, Solar does take a 1-0 lead. Now we find ourselves in Game 2. Game 2 going to be Oceanborn. Of course, on top of that, we spoke about Hecate. We spoke about how the rush distance by ground is very short. And sure, there is a bit of a defensive advantage there, but Solar was able to get up the ramp without too much issue, without any problems. And of course, Snowball out of control. But now we're getting into game number 2, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our red Zerga player representing Team Vitality, leading the series 1-0. It is Solar. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Zerga player representing Shopify Rebellion from the land of Canada. It is Scarlett. Here we go. ZvZ does continue. So far, Solo going for a hatch first. Likewise, so is Scarlett. Hatch first all around. And Oceanborn, honestly, is another really good map for that kind of all-in. For a similar style that we saw from Solar, to go for either a 26 drone, Roach Ling Flood. We could even go for something crazy like, I say something crazy, but we could go for something more traditional like +1 Carapace Roach Ling all-in as well, or Ravager Ling all-in. Could waddle the queens across the map. There are options. There are options on Oceanborn. We'll see if Scarlett decides to be the aggressor instead. For now, open as a standard. That way, just getting into our ZvZ, getting into the game. And that last game just shows us how chaotic ZvZ can be, and how unforgiving it can be as well. Traditionally in ZvZ, it's also considered to be a little bit easier to be the aggressor, right? To try to dictate the pace of the game. It is so much more difficult to scout, to respond, to accurately read what your opponent is doing, and prepare defensively back at home. That's just the dynamic of the matchup and the nature of aggression. It's harder to defend than it is to attack. So who is going to be the attacker? Who's going to be the aggressor? For now, we're getting into Ling speed. No one is skipping it. No one is rushing into an early lair. Our base going to be on the way. So going to be taken. And we should be seeing Balian S thereafter. Balian should be on the way. There it is. Scarlett does throw down hers. And so does Solar. And from here, we should just be droning. We'll keep an eye out to see if anyone decides to make a wave of Lings and open up with Ling Bane aggression. Otherwise, we should be getting into 3-base saturation, getting into Roaches, and getting into the mid-game. We'll see if we can get there. But now Scarlett is droning. Solar does make an extra wave of Lings. So Solar, he will have a little bit more to work with, as he does make an extra pair behind this as well. Solar will have the Ling Bane advantage. Only slightly. Solar is going to be moving out. Behind this, he's droning. Roachborn has been thrown down here as a part of the wall at the natural. So, like, he has arrived at the third base. Interestingly enough, Scarlett hasn't thrown down her own Roachborn. It's just going Purling Bane. It's just going Purling Bane instead. Going for a more delayed Roachborn here from Scarlett. And she's going to be able to hold on. Now, the downside here is that Scarlett, because we made so many Lings, that does eat into the drone count. So, Solar does get ahead. Is now ahead in workers, ahead in economy. The earlier Roachborn from Solar didn't really come to fruition. It's available. Ling does slip into the main base. We do get eyes on the faster layer. Sees the fast layer, sees the late Roachborn. Solar going to be playing catch up, getting into his own lair and upgrades. There we go. Scarlett does get across the map. Bailey's then going for the mineral line. But so far, the Roaches, they come out just in time. The Baileys are forced back. And Solar will defend. Will hold. And I'm curious if Scarlett does go for a crisp Roach speed timing. And yep, that's what's happening. Here we go. The lair is now done. Roaches are amassing here for Scarlett. We've drawn up to 46. That is just under 3 base saturation. And Scarlett isn't taking additional gases. It's just massing Roaches. And this is how ZvZ can work here. Sometimes if you drone, you do die. Scarlett going back into saturation. She's droning up her her third base at least. Is droning. Roach speed is on the way. Likewise, also on the way for Solar. Roach speed and +1. So we're kind of easing into this. No one is being overly aggressive. Yes, Scarlett does have an army, that is true, but I believe she's just posturing. As she moves out, she's forcing a reaction out of Solar. We have 8 more Roaches on the way. Scarlett shouldn't commit too hard here. She does push in. She forces the boys to be pulled. Very nice. Oh my god. Boys being pulled from the natural and from the third base. Scarlett going to be able to pull back. Has been able to catch up in those workers. And Scarlett behind this is doubling down. That is a Nidus Worm on the way. Okay. So she cuts workers at 62. That is 3 base saturation. Likewise, Solar doing something similar. Actually droning up a little bit further here. Very interesting. So we do have that role reversal where Solar is droning, Scarlett isn't. Scarlett just doubling down here on Roaches. There it is. A Nidus Worm is on the way to reinforce. Solar does see this. He does see, but just because he sees doesn't mean he can stop it. Look at the army size here. Scarlett does have the army supply lead. Solar has more drones, but again, what are drones going to do for you here? Yeah, nothing. Decent bailing connections from Solar. But Scarlett, she has an overwhelming army. She has a better concave, and she's breaking through. Yeah, Solar, caught with his pants down, caught droning in a ZvZ. You're crazy, but just caught droning a little bit too much, and Scarlett is going to be able to break on through. Nidus into the main base. Scarlett pulling back for a moment, just waiting for reinforcements. There it is, boys are being pulled. A really nice target firing out of Scarlett on those Roaches. Breaking through the drones. Nidus Worm is not going to be able to finish. But I love the use of the Nidus Worm here, slowing down reinforcements. Not the first time that Scarlett did it. There we go, does buy some time. Very nice moves. And it is just a numbers game. And GG gets called. Scarlett has far too much. Snowball's out of control, and Scarlett will tie up the series 1-1. GG. GG, well played. Again, I think she did it twice, maybe 3 times, but I love the use of the Nidus Worm there to throw them down outside of the natural base, and we saw that a lot of time was being bought. Reinforcements were so heavily delayed for Solar as they were getting stuck on that Nidus, whether it was stuck move commanding or even stuck attacking the Nidus Worm as well. And as we mentioned, of course, it wasn't just that, was the fact that Scarlett did cut workers earlier on and was able to catch Solar with that 3-base all-in. GG, well played. With that, we're going to the ace match. All the way, all the way. So game 1, Solar went for a 1.5 base all-in. Here in game number 2, Scarlett went for a 3-base all-in. Game number 3, how many bases and who goes all-in? That's the question. Do we... 13-12. Let's go. We're droning. And here we go, spawning in the top right-hand corner of Solaris, we have our Canadian Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Scarlett. Sorry, it is Solar. My apologies. I lost my mind because in the bottom left we have going for a 12 pool. I was distracted by that production tab. We have our Canadian Zerg player representing Shopify. It is Scarlett. So I apologize for saying the wrong name. Top right is, of course, Solar from Team Vitality. Bottom left is Scarlett. Scarlett is going for a 12 pool opener. Solar is going for a hatch gas pool. Standard opener out of our Red Zerg. Aggressive opener from our Blue Zerg player. So I was a little bit distracted because I saw Scarlett make a drone, but I guess she cancelled. She may have cancelled that egg. As we are getting into a 12 pool. Now, there are different variations of 12 pool. There are different variations. There are macro versions where you go into, I want to say, like 10 lings, and you take an expansion behind it, and you just go into 2-base play. Or you can go 12 pool and pull the boys. You could pull the boys here, get across the map, and just go all in and throw down spine crawlers. But Scarlett, is gonna be going for the all-in. Let's go! The boys are being pulled. It's all or nothing, one way or the other. The game will end. Either this works or it doesn't. And Solar sees everything. Solar sees the boys. And we are preparing back at home. Again, waiting for the spawning pool to finish up. Drone is moving out as well. I imagine with this we want to cancel that natural base, but it looks like Solar may opt to let it finish. Bold move here. We're trying to deny those spine crawlers. So far, we do delay it for a moment. Spine crawlers are on the way. Solar going to be drone drilling here in the main base. Scarlett does engage. Oh! Drone drilling the drones. And does get a bit of damage done here. Lings are on the way. Solar buying time, preserving his drones. Does keep them alive. Trying to minimize losses here, but workers are going down. Lings do pop out just in time, though. We collapse here on the spine crawlers. A bit of miscontrol, though. Scarlett did accidentally click on that gas geyser. Did miscontrol for a moment. One spine crawler does go down. The other will finish. But Scarlett, she's running out of units, running out of drones. Yeah, and Solar, he has enough. Takes down the spine crawler. GG gets called. Solar will hold. And Solar takes the series 2-1. GG. Oh. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Solar. Does survive, does defend against the 12 pool drone pool. Unfortunately, Scarlett did have some rough moments there. The first one was the first spine crawler was delayed for a moment, and every moment counts when you're all in like this. The other rough moment was when she did accidentally click on the gas geyser. I think it was like 2 attack volleys. 2 attack volleys of quite a lot of units were, just wasting their DPS on the gas geyser instead of on the drones or on the lings. That was a brutal moment as well. And it's moments like these where if we had dealt a little bit more damage, if we had killed 1 extra drone or 1 extra ling, then the spine crawler gets extra hits in. Maybe the second spine crawler finishes as well. There's a lot that does add up over time, and yeah, like every little thing does matter that much more here in a short game like that. Regardless, GG, well played. Solar does take the series at 2-1 and does take down Scarlett, but a solid series there. A bit of a shame to go for this as well, especially because Solar didn't overreact. Very, very like cool, calm, and collected play out of Solar. Just drone drilling, buying time. He also had options as well to evacuate. This is why you allow the natural base to finish in that scenario, is because if the spine crawlers get up and running, Solar can evacuate the main base, go towards the natural instead, and get spine crawlers in his natural and just try to rotate on over while your opponent is all in and losing units in the main. So yeah, just a really crisp and clean response out of Solar. GG. GG, well played. With that, we are now going to be going on a short break. Going to be going for a short break here as we have wrapped up 3 of our best of 3s tonight, and we have a couple more ahead of us. I hope you're excited for some more mirror matchups. I hope you're ready for some TVT action. This is going to be a rematch. Spirit versus Hero Marine in a TVT. They face off many times throughout 2023, and Spirit has had, at least from my recollection, has had the better of Hero Marine. I believe in DreamHack Young shipping at the start of the year, and I think in IEM Katowice as well at the beginning of last year. So Spirit has been having some really good performances and some really solid results in TVT. Or I should say in general, actually. But we'll see if that continues here. We'll see how he fares against Hero Marine here and now. Again, we're going to be going on a short break. We're going to be going on a short break here as we have reached the halfway mark. And when we return, we're going to have some TVT action. A lot of TVT. It's I hope you're ready. Hope you are ready for it. Don't go anywhere. Take this moment to get some snacks, get some water, hydrate Hydras, stretch your roaches, cuddle your Colossus, and tuck in your Tempest. When we return, we will have Spirit versus Hero Marine. See you soon.